And so people ask me, they say, well, how do I maintain a good generational X workforce? And I say to them, don't give them a job.
A goldfish? Oh, a coldfish! I just thought it was a regional thing. That darn goldfish.
In fact, one employer, this is an employer that hires this generation right out of they're still in high school, part-time. He says, I call them group think. He says, now I don't use group think meaning that they're not smart. He says they're very intelligent. He says, I use the word group think because they come apply for jobs in a group. He said, and if you hire one, you gotta hire them all.
So you went from the absolute just being on the love boat, the love boat of Fantasy Island, and they moved you to a farm where you got up and baled hay. Oh my gosh, it's like the Beverly Hillbillies but in reverse. Okay, sorry. I'm just laughing at your misery. All right, Sean, seriously.
Entitled. Oh, they'll just look at you. I mean, how long am I going to do this job? I mean, because this is not a career. This is just a job. I am not going to be here years from now when I'm old. Like you. I want to take a look at each generation and their signposts and how these signposts influence them when they come and work with you on your team. If I were to ask Mamie J, how did you and Charles meet? Mamie J said to me, Meagan, it was love at first sight. How do we tend to respond when we hear that? Aww. Except the back row, Mamie J. They're bitter. The rest of us are excited to hear about love at first sight. Now, if I were to say to Mamie J, how did you and Charles meet? And Mamie J said to me, well, Meagan, I have to tell you, it was not love at first sight. It was more like your first example. We did not like each other at all, couldn't stand each other, hated one another. She says, but there was just this day in our relationship. In fact, Meagan, I still remember this day when we looked into each other's eyes. And it just became obvious that nobody else was going to take us. And I realized my mother was right. This was as good as it was going to get. Now, if Mamie J gives us that answer, we obviously have a different response. I was speaking to a group a couple months ago. I said to the group, I asked them about love at first sight. I had an audience member. She was sitting in the back. She shot up out of her chair. She screamed out at me, "It's a lie." Not a very romantic answer, but I do think she had a point, because it's not really love at first sight. What is it? An answer from other groups, but not from this one. Give me something I can use up here. Attraction, infatuation. They look so happy all in yellow. Because really, if you get to know this person, what do you begin to notice 3 months later? It's that stuff they do. Doesn't matter, man or woman, it's the stuff they do. It's that noise they make when they swallow. Or it's the and the best part is they look at you and you go, I almost got it. Or they just continue to breathe. And you were looking at them across the breakfast table one morning and you think to yourself, if I look at you long enough and hard enough, maybe you'll just stop breathing. Continually complaining, gossip, lazy, apathetic, rude. Very rude. Disloyal, they'll just quit. They're going to give me 5 cents more an hour down the street. Wants reward, what's in it for me? And they want to have fun. This isn't fun. This is hard work. I was out last night. Getting here at 8 is very hard. Is this list similar to your list? Yeah. Tell you the biggest difference between your list and this list is your list you created about the young people you work with, you live with, you interact with today. This list comes from Life magazine, 1968. Baby boomers. As soon as a new generation enters the workforce and the marketplace, we use the same words to describe that upcoming generation. And what we're really describing is a youthful generation, and the definition of youthful is inexperienced and new. And I describe these experiences that create a generation, I call them signposts. When I was 6 years old, I went to the grocery store with my father. Now, you remember when you used to go to the grocery store, there actually used to be a little white sticker on the item you were purchasing. Remember the little white sticker? Yeah. I can get lower. Do you remember the little white sticker? Yes, little white sticker. It had the price. It actually had the price printed on this little white sticker, and they stuck it on the item you were purchasing. And when my father went through the cashier, and this was before scanners, the cashier actually had to enter the price into the register. She misread it, and she only charged my father 69 cents instead of $1.69. And my dad said, no, it's not 69 cents, it's $1.69. She said, oh, you're right, she charged him the correct price, and we left. Not a lot of fanfare involved. Now, I was 6 years old at the time. My weekly allowance was $1. It took me a week to earn what my father had just thrown away in seconds. And I have to tell you, I was not impressed. And I thought he had made a big mistake. And so he needed some advice. So I turned to him and I said, Daddy, that was dumb. I said, if you had just kept your big mouth shut for 1 minute, you could have saved a whole $1. I said, wait till I tell Mom what you did. And he said, you're right. He said, but my self-worth is worth more than $1. Now that event happened to me when I was 6 years old. That event is what I call a signpost. That event influences me today. And we all have them. If you think about a belief or core value that you hold near and dear to your heart, you can trace it back to an event, a signpost. Something happened in your life and you walked away with the perception of the right way and the wrong way for the world to operate. And the reason I tell you that story and the reason I ask you to think about your own personal signposts is think about how powerful those signposts are. That even though that event I described to you happened years ago for me, it still influences me today. It influences me when I choose the people I spend my time with. It influences me when I resolve conflict and negotiate. That one event that happened, it was of less than 5 minutes, still has pull over my final decisions today. And you think about your own and how much pull and power that those signposts have. Because we have another set of signposts called generational signposts. And generational signposts are just as powerful as those personal signposts, but generational signposts change from generation to generation. Baby boomers, when you were a kid and your school's going to have a fundraiser, sell candy, how did you sell the candy? Door to door. Baby boomers, how do you sell your kids candy today? You take it to work or you buy it all. Say to the kid, you know what, let's get it over with. Let's just take one of everything. So what has happened is over time there has been an erosion of these responsible building signposts. These signposts where you learned financial responsibility, time management skills, customer service skills, they have eroded away. But this is where we have generational myopia. And generational myopia occurs when you have one set of beliefs based upon your signposts and you're dealing with another generation that has a different set of beliefs based upon theirs. And here's why the conflict can be so high when it comes to our generational signposts. 9/11. 9/11 is a generational signpost for all of us. Because we can remember a time before 9/11 and a time after 9/11. But those of you that had children 2 years or younger at the time of 9/11, 9/11 is what's called a life law, meaning that by the time they're really aware of their surroundings, all the ripple of effect of 9/11 will already be firmly in place. And so 9/11 will mean nothing to them. Can you believe that's something that we talk about still every day will mean nothing to that generation? I did not think being a latchkey kid was such a bad deal. Because here's what would happen as a latchkey kid. You'd come home from school, and there was a list of tasks that had been left by management. Here are the rules. Tasks have to be done before management returns, which is at 6 p.m., and the tasks have to be done to a level of quality that was determined during the initial phase of training. Now, if management is due home, meaning mom and dad are due home at 6 o'clock, when do I start doing the tasks? No, 5:40, yeah. Here's the point, though. The point is it's up to me to decide when I start the tasks, in what order I want to do the tasks. My time is my own, and I can organize and do the tasks any way I want to do them. When something goes wrong, much like the work environment, where's management? Nowhere. So I have to solve the problem on my own, or I have to find someone that can help me solve the problem. So Generation X became our most independent generation. They're an independent learner. They're an independent worker.
I was in the car with my father, and a song came on the radio titled "Love the One You're With." And I said, "Turn this up, I like this song." And my dad said, "Well, what do you like about it?" I said, "I like the message it sends." He said, "Well, what do you think the message is?" I said, "Well, the line in the song, if you can't be with the one you love, love the one you're with." I said, what that means is, if you can't be with the one you love, meaning the one you love was so stupid and they dumped you, which could happen, you have to love the one you're with, and the one you're with is yourself. You always have to love yourself and take care of yourself first. And my dad did say, that's not what it means. So after he told me what it meant, I said, "Oh, that is so gross! Oh, gross! Why did you tie up the naked pig over his bed?" That's just because there's some things you never want to hear your mom or dad say. It's disgusting! I'm surprised your parents let you out of the house with those thoughts going through your mind. That's gross! I said, well, here's the problem, Dad. I said, during your youth, you had that cornball slogan. It makes me want to vomit every time I hear it. Free love. Oh, that is so disgusting. There's no such thing as a free lunch, much less free love. Get out. I said, during the 80s, when I was a teenager, free love, that would have meant not just a disease that you lived with, but a disease that could kill you. So if you were going to free love anybody, free loving yourself was the safest outfit around.
But this This generation, they don't even meet people face to face. How do they meet people? On the internet. Baby boomers, you learn to use computers at work. Gen Xers, we learn to use computers in school. This generation is using computers at home before they even go to school. The computer is as intimidating to them as the toaster is to us. And here's what happens. We have a flattening of the playing field because computers are an essential tool for us. We use the computer for almost everything. And who is the expert? This person. This multi-pierced, heavily tattooed, baggy pants, young person. And this is the person we go to ask them, go shop with us for the computer, tell me how to fix the computer. We ask them, how do I install the parental controls? What one manager did was she created a VIP salesperson, and she runs a retail clothing store, and she hires a lot of young people. These are the people that come and wait on you when you come into the store. She created the VIP salesperson. She said the VIP salesperson doesn't make more money, doesn't get more time off, but they get 3 letters on their name badge. It says VIP. And she said what I did was I took every task that was required of my salespeople, colorizing a rack, cleaning out the dressing rooms, unloading shipment. She said I listed them on a chart, and then I listed all my employees' names on the other side of the chart. She said, and once my employee could demonstrate to me they understood how to do the task, they got a star next to their name at the weekly meeting. She said, and what it did was 2 things. She said, it ensured me that the people that had the most interaction with my customers, she said, who ironically tend to have the least amount of training and get paid the least, that they had an understanding of just the basics. She said, and the second thing is it gave them some more feedback right away about their performance. We have gone from lifetime employment to 2 years is considered long-term. 2 years. I was speaking for another group. I said 2 years is considered long-term. They said 2 years, sometimes we lose them at lunch. 2 hours is all we get. So the whole idea that this generation has to wait this long for information on their performance is ridiculous. This is the generation that has had information at their fingertips with the internet. They are not impressed by the speed of a microwave. I mean, they stood at the microwave and said, I don't have 15 seconds, let's go. So the more information you can give them, the better. And as fast as possible. It doesn't have to be a formal review, but information about their performance. Information on how to deal with tough situations.
I'm Meagan Johnson.
Oh, I heard your name.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in orientation.
Oh, yeah, orientation? You've been in our orientation?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. You're the director of the hospital?
Yeah, that is correct, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Uh-huh.
Well, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
You were in orientation?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Now we're going to be working in housekeeping.
Oh, you are?
Oh, I saw your picture. You had a little video thing. It's really
Yeah.
cool.
So you're working here in our
Yeah. You ever got it
hospital?
on DVD?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I think about
Oh,
that.
okay, yeah. That's awesome. Well, obviously, there's a suggestion box. You can always put some things in the
Yeah, I noticed you have you're using a computer.
Yeah, me
Is
too.
this a Mac?
Yeah.
I never used a Mac.
Yes, it's a Mac.
This is-
Yes. I
They
don't know
say
if you're
they're
supposed to.
easy to use.
Yeah, they are.
Is this your personal laptop?
Yes, it is my personal laptop. Thank you. I don't know if you're supposed to really push those buttons like that. I don't know if that's what you're supposed to do.
I like it. I don't know. I'm a PC guy, so
Yeah,
I
really.
don't relate to this Mac stuff.
Really, yeah. It's now doing something I've never seen it do that before.
Well, you know, we can go in, you know, there's an underlying program that runs the whole thing, I understand. It's just different than, you know, PC runs on Windows.
Right.
So you have to go into the Windows program if you want to change the
You're
program.
in housekeeping, right? Housekeeping, right? That's what your department is, right? Housekeeping, right?
Oh, right, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Hey, listen, do you like live around here?
Yeah.
Where do you live?
I live just right, Scottsdale. I live in Scottsdale. Yeah.
In Scottsdale?
Yeah.
I live in Scottsdale.
Do ya? You live in Scottsdale?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, maybe we could.
Where are you in Scottsdale?
I live in North Scottsdale with my parents.
Oh, with your parents, of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, maybe we could get together and party or something.
Buy to work together. Well, that's always an option. It can always be a consideration.
Okay, well, I think I'm supposed to like clean up some rooms or something.
Oh, yeah.
So,
that would be some
So
stuff.
I guess I'll kind of be getting along.
Probably, yes. That would
It's
be a
been
great.
like way cool.
Yes.
to meet you.
Oh, wow. All right.